Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. So, guys, firstly, before I start the video, I want to give a shout out to Rapid Blaze, who wanted me to give him a shout out. You've been a subscriber from day one. I appreciate your support. I know you've been a subscriber from day one. I remember you. I remember the names, Rapid Blaze, and oh crap, sorry about that, guys. But yeah, I appreciate your support and the fact that you've been following me from day one. There's a lot of you that are still watching my videos that have followed me from day one. So massive respect to all of you. I appreciate it all. I see you in the comment section. So yeah, I really appreciate everybody that has been following me from day one and that's recently started following me as well. There's quite a few of you, so yeah, I appreciate it. I always try to respond to as many as I can in the comment section. I always try to respond to my subscribers through my videos as well. So just so it makes you feel like you guys know that I'm actually reading your comments and I'm acknowledging you. So yeah, just a little short shout out before I start the video. But yeah, I wanted to talk about Manny Pacquiao. I haven't done a video about him for about a week or so. I don't know what's going on with Manny Pacquiao. I don't know what's happening. I don't know who's he gonna fight. I don't know whether Manny Pacquiao is gonna retire. It doesn't seem like he's gonna retire. There still seems like there's a lot for Manny still to do. Manny right now is a world champion at welterweight, so he's obviously among the best welterweights, even at the age of 41, which is remarkable, incredible for a man of 41 years of age to still be considered in probably the hottest division in boxing, probably the most talented division in boxing. Still be one of the top welterweights is incredible, and like I said, I think it just adds to his great legacy which he's already got. For me, he's top 5 greatest fighter of all time. I think he's an unbelievable talent, an unbelievable fighter, and somebody that in my opinion will go down as one of the greatest fighters of all time. What's he got left? Let's look at some of the options. There's some names: Crawford, Spence, Mikey, Khan. See, there's two types of fights that Manny could take, right? Manny could either go into killer fights with Spence, Crawford, very difficult fights and tough fights at his age. But then he can also take lesser fights like Mikey, Khan, McGregor. There also talk about him fighting McGregor. Let's go through one by one. Spence would be a very, very difficult fight. Spence is big, long, strong, very good chin, relentless. I do worry for Manny in that fight just because of the fact that I think Spence is relentless and Spence's size and power. He'll be on Manny Pacquiao. He'll be walking him down, and on top of him is Manny Pacquiao at his age going to be able to control the pace and be able to keep up with the pace because Spence is going to be, leaning on him, fighting on the inside. It's just a hard fight for Manny, Spence is a pressure fight. He's always on you. It's a difficult fight for Manny. Just the pace of that fight. I don't know whether he'll be able to, keep up with the pace at his age. So I think Spence is a very hard fight. I think Crawford is a much more winnable fight in the sense that Crawford's a boxer. He's a slick boxer. He can outbox you, but I don't think he's a big puncher like that, and he's not gonna damage you. He can pick you apart. He's a surgeon. Yes, I get all of that. But, Crawford's not a dangerous fight. Crawford can outbox you. It's a hard fight in the sense that Crawford can outbox you and use his skills to, completely outbox you. But in terms of it being a dangerous fight, it's a more winnable fight for Manny because Crawford's vulnerable. He can be hit and hurt. And Manny's speed and power can definitely cause Crawford a lot of issues. So I think that's obviously a great fight, and I think that makes more sense because Crawford's not that big, he's not that physically strong like Spence is. So for me, personally, I think that's a great fight. That's a great fight for the fans, for Manny, for Crawford as well. I think it tells us a lot how good Crawford is. I think it's a perfect fight for everybody. That's why I think if Manny's going to fight one of those two, Spence or Crawford, I think I would prefer Crawford at this age. I think Spence might be a notch too far just because Spence is too big, strong. He's relentless. He punches hard. He's got a good chin. I don't like that fight for Manny. However, I do think a fight between him and Crawford makes a lot of sense stylistically. I think it's a great fight. I think it's a very good fight, and I think it's a fight that I think everybody would like to see. I think it would be a fantastic fight. Even at the age that Manny's at, I still give him a shot in that fight. Then they go down to Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia is an easier touch, and a lot of people would favor Manny to beat Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia is a good fighter, but I just think stylistically Manny Pacquiao beats him. If I'm honest with you, I think Manny Pacquiao will beat him on points. Mikey showed against Spence he's tough, but I just think he's not a welterweight. Even though Manny's not a welterweight, but I just think Manny Pacquiao's been fighting at that weight, and I think Mikey's style is a fight that Manny wins comfortably, if I'm honest with you. At this age, you can never say comfortably, but I would favor him massively against Mikey Garcia. It's not a fight that the fans have taken to, though. A lot of the fans don't want to see that fight. A lot of Manny Pacquiao fans don't want to see that fight. And just boxing fans in general are not that excited to see Manny Pacquiao v Mikey Garcia for some reason. I don't know why, because I think it would make for a good fight for Manny. And I think you can't have a dig at Mikey for fighting. You can't have a dig for Manny for fighting Mikey Garcia. He's 41 years of age. He's been out of the ring for a very long time. There's a possibility that Manny may not be in the ring this year, right? There's no talk of him fighting anybody or in serious talks with anybody. So there's a great chance that Manny Pacquiao is going to be out of the ring for at least 1.5 years. And that's a long time for Manny Pacquiao to be out of the ring at his age. It's a lot harder when you're old when you're inactive. It's not good. It's not good at all. You need to stay. Your tools need to stay sharp. I'm pretty sure Manny Pacquiao's training hard and he's in training. However, to be out the ring for 1.5 years at the age of 41, I don't know. It is dangerous. But Manny Pacquiao is a special athlete, a special individual. So it's not as if he can't do it, and he shocked us many times before. But he is getting older, and his journey is going to come to an end eventually. But let's see. I do think Manny Pacquiao will fight again. I don't think Manny Pacquiao's not going to fight again. The last guy I mentioned was Amir Khan. Obviously, from a selfish point of view for myself, I would love to see that, just because I think there'd be a lot of hype. It'd be a big fight. Whether it'll be a competitive fight, I don't know. Amir Khan didn't look too good against Crawford. He is on his last legs as well. And you would have to favor Pacquiao massively to beat Amir Khan. And out of all the 4 fights that I mentioned, you'd have to say that's probably a fight that would be the least competitive if we go on what Amir Khan's got left. Not to say that Amir Khan, I think, would have been a much tougher fight than Mikey Garcia in his prime. But I just think now Amir Khan's not got a lot left, personally. However, I would love to see it, just because of the fact that if Manny's going to fight Mikey, right, I would prefer to see Khan over Mikey, just because I think the hype and the fact that they have a storyline, they were sparring partners, the fact that I just think Manny would probably make a lot more money fighting Amir Khan than fighting Mikey Garcia. So if he's going to take an easier touch, I would prefer to see Khan, just from a selfish point of view. The fact that, obviously I like Khan and a fan of Khan. And I just think, anyway, for Manny, it's a bigger money fight and it's a bigger fight generally. I think it's a bigger fight globally. I don't think Mikey Garcia is a name like that. Yes, in boxing, for the hardcore fans, yes, he is. But I don't think he's a global name like Khan. I think Khan's a much bigger star than Mikey Garcia globally. Especially, I think, if that fight was to happen I don't think if the fight happens in the UK, it'll be big, but it's not anywhere near as big as it would have been 4 or 5 years ago. But I think in Saudi Arabia, I do think they'd be willing to pay huge money for that fight. I think they would. So I think that would make a massive sense to happen in somewhere like Saudi Arabia, just because I think of the fact that I think Khan over there is a big name. Manny is a massive name everywhere. So I think that makes sense. I think that would make sense if Manny Pacquiao wants to take an easier touch, because there's talk about him fighting McGregor. Obviously, McGregor would be another big fight. It'd be a huge fight. Whether Pacquiao fans are very ruthless, they wouldn't want to see that. They don't even want to see Khan Garcia, let alone McGregor. McGregor would just be a massive payday, because McGregor's a huge superstar. He's a way bigger star than Khan. So that would be a massive payday for Manny Pacquiao. It's just the fact that we've already seen it before with Mayweather. So would we want to see that again? I just think it would be a bit of a farce. But again, would fans buy into that? Probably. McGregor and Pacquiao are massive, massive names. But I don't know. I would prefer to see Manny fight a boxer. But again, I wouldn't begrudge him if he took that fight just to make a few quid because he's at the end of his career. I wouldn't mind him taking an easy touch like McGregor, beating him, making a huge amount of money, and then fighting the winner, fighting Spencer Crawford. That would be brilliant. I would love to see Manny Pacquiao fight for the undisputed welterweight championship, or get the opportunity to win that at least. He'd be the underdog. Whoever wins out of Spencer Crawford, if they were to fight Manny for the undisputed welterweight championship of the world, I just think that he'd be a massive underdog against both guys. However, I do give him a lot more bigger chance against Crawford than I do against Spence. I think it's a great. I think what Manny Pacquiao is going to do next. I don't know because he may even retire. So all the options that I gave you, another option could be even retiring. He may not want to come back to the ring. He, like I said, he's not a spring chicken. He's old now, so if he does decide to retire, it's probably maybe the best thing for him to do is to retire for his health. It doesn't matter what he's gonna do now in his career. His legacy secure. He's one of the greatest fighters of all time. He's not gonna do any more. Yes, if he beats Spencer Crawford, that would add to his legacy further. But he's already secured his legacy. He's already one of the greatest. I don't think there's much more he can do to add to that stellar career. Becoming undisputed champion, but that's not going to be no easy fight. And then remember, he could damage. There could be dangerous fights. He could hurt himself as well. So nobody wants that. Manny Pacquiao is adored by boxing fans all over the world. Nobody would want to see Manny go out on a loss or get hurt. So he's got to think of these things. Also, family, his country needs him as well. He may become president or prime minister, whatever you call it. So let's see what Manny decides to do. But it's going to be intriguing. But what do you guys think? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.